Welcome back to another episode of Believe in TCU, presented by FanDuel. I'm Zion Trammell with my co-host Seth Dowdle here today. We're gonna talk about this TCU football matchup with West Virginia. It's another road test. They'll be heading to Morgantown, fresh off a 42-36 win over Baylor, but they'll hit the road to a place that has not been kind to TCU in the past, but Seth, I think what we're going to be stating a lot in this preview is that West Virginia has had their struggles this season, to say the least.
Yeah, it better be kind to him this weekend, based on what we've seen so far from both these teams this season. It's been a struggle fest for the Mountaineers, but it's also been a struggle fest for TCU in Morgantown over the greater part of ever since these two teams joined the Big 12 in the same season. So the rubber's got to meet the road on one of these things. We'll talk about which one's more likely on that front, but should be, no matter the result, even if it's a blowout, even if it's a close game, should be an interesting evening in Morgantown, West Virginia.
It always is. 5 o'clock kickoff. Well,
6
wait,
local.
are they in? Yeah, they're in the
Yes.
East. Yeah, so 6 on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, kind of get your ESPN Plus notifications out of your pocket. Find the login. Go pay big Disney some cash if you haven't already.
Yeah, I pay for. I don't pay for ESPN Plus, so I gotta figure out a way to get it.
I mean, this is like the sin of the Big 12 having some of their programming on ESPN Plus. No other league in the Power 4 has any of their programming on ESPN Plus. Just want to make that clear, for football at least.
They should have put this on the CW.
It would have been so much better. This is a game that belongs on the CW.
It does. Because, well, part of it is, TCU is not held up as 5-2, but more on the fact that West Virginia is 2-5. They defeated Robert Morris 45-3, thinking, oh baby, West Virginia national champ.
Rich Rod, national champ for back.
Then they lost to Ohio, not Ohio State. Ohio.
Parker Navarro is Ohio.
Parker Navarro. He threw 3 interceptions that game, and they still won by 7. And then, so you're thinking, okay, wow, just vibes are bad for West Virginia. Then they go out and they beat Pitt 31-24.
Literally their
rivalry game.
Literally their Super Bowl. No other way to put it. Like that was, they put all of their energy into the Pitt game, and they squeaked out a win in overtime. They had to come back. They got it done. And since then, Zion, they've given up 41, 48, 38, and 45, and they've scored no more than 24, which is kind of funny that the most points that they scored and the least amount of points they've given up was against BYU, the first place team in the conference.
Yeah, that is very strange. I was going to look up the score differential, but it's fine. It's a lot to a little. We'll just say that. It was funny. I heard Pitt's head coach the other day say that the ACC top to bottom is the best conference in the country. And I'm like, you lost to the second worst team in the Big 12.
Listen, the ACC, I don't want to get on my soapbox regarding the ACC, but the ACC went 1-6 against the Big 12. The lone win was Georgia Tech over Colorado on the road. And even then, that was kind of a squeaker. And no, I do not want to be hearing the ACC, talking about how deep of a league it is when, one, I have that stat to rely on, but also it's like, listen, here's the bottom of your league. The bottom of our league is filled with Oklahoma State, West Virginia, and UCF. UCF beat North Carolina. You also have Boston College, Florida State. Oh my gosh. At the bottom of the conference. Syracuse, Virginia Tech fired their head coach, by the way. It's not a great conference.
It's not.
It's not saying ours is either, but it's better in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say so too. I mean, Miami's certainly and Georgia Tech are certainly, holding up their end. I mean, Stanford's not good either. Another team I don't think you mentioned.
Stanford's 2-2 in the ACC.
Are they
Stanford
real?
has
I
2
know that.
ACC wins.
Oh my gosh. I know they beat Florida State. Who else did they beat? They beat
I think they beat Boston College.
Yeah.
Yeah, they beat BC. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, right now, Georgia Tech and SMU are the two lone unbeaten teams in conference play.
Virginia.
And then yeah, I would say Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Miami are the three best teams in the ACC. But anyways, back enough with that. This is a we'll get back to the Big 12 here. I just thought it was such an odd comment to make, especially given what your program did back in week 3. But the Mountaineers, yeah, they've been getting destroyed. The 45-13 loss to the hands of UCF is certainly an indicator of kind of where things are at with the Mountaineers. They don't have a quarterback, Seth. We talked about this before we hopped on here.
No,
After
they
looking
don't.
at the injury report.
And I'm looking at the stat line of their passing yards against UCF, and it made me put my hand over my mouth because I was so appalled. They don't have a quarterback. Scotty Fox Jr. was their leading passer against UCF, 6 for 17 for 47 yards. But yeah, we were looking at the injury report, and they are going to be down Nico Marchiol and Khalil Watkins? No.
Jalen Henderson.
Jalen Henderson. And then Khalil Wilkins, is questionable. And he's a kind of a dual threat guy. He's their leading rusher on the season. In fact, their 2 leading rushers this season are quarterbacks. So if anything, if we're going to know anything about this game, West Virginia is going to want to run the ball here and play ball control and kind of messy it up, just kind of limit possessions. Whether they can be successful in that or not is, your guess is as good as mine. But that's what they'll be looking to do here.
Yeah, sorry, wow, I could not talk for a second. West Virginia is top 5 in the league in rushing yards per game, so it is very surprising that their 2 leading rushers are quarterbacks. They did try to establish the running game there against UCF. They still ran it for 131 rushing yards. I mean, if you looked at the box score and saw how many times UCF tried to run the ball, you would have thought that they were ahead, but they lost by 32. And Khalil Wilkins ran it 15 times for 48 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, they only averaged 2.7 yards per carry. They ran it 49 times for 131 yards and only averaged 2.7 yards a carry. That game was not good for you for them. I mean, we can extrapolate that out though to their entire season, right? We can look at the Utah game a couple of weeks ago. Their leading passer threw for 63 yards. It was Khalil Wilkins. They ran for 261 yards in that game. Oh my gosh, they ran for 261 yards, averaged 5.4 yards per carry, but they weren't able to get anything going through the air. And since Utah was able to just kind of run it at will, Utah ran for 242 yards, and they also have a passing attack. They can't come back because they can't throw. So that's the key here for TCU. If TCU gets out in front early, gets out there quickly, scores 14 points in the first quarter, I'd say that's probably a ball game.
Probably. I don't. West Virginia just does not have the passing attack to get into a shootout with TCU. They have the worst in the Big 12 in passing yards per game by a large margin. So if TCU finds a way to get ahead early, and it's not like this team in West Virginia has a team that can mount a comeback. It's just not really in the cards for them. And the Frogs have found a lot of success through the air, and you can't get in a shootout with TCU. They're going to have to find a way to control time of possession, maintain long drives, especially early in the game, and get the Frogs on their heels a little bit. That's really their best chance. If they fall behind early, it's over, in my opinion, too. I agree with you.
Yeah, and West Virginia is not that great at stopping the run either. So say TCU were to get out in front early, get out to like a quick 21-7 lead or something like that. If they can just kind of then do what has always eluded them, which is put a game away on the ground and salt that clock away, everything should be fine. Because West Virginia is going to help you out with chewing that clock because they're not going to be able to throw it if everything goes to plan. If you are able to stop that like everyone else has. Now that is something I'm always wary of with TCU. Sometimes they just don't do what other teams do, and they let teams exploit TCU's weaknesses, which I don't think TCU has a weakness in the passing defense. I think they actually have a pretty good secondary as well as some linebackers that can get after the quarterback. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. But still, I always get a little worried about Morgantown. I mean, just crazy things happen there. That's a fan base that cares. They really do care. And I know it probably sucks that this is how their season's going, but I think everyone knew that this was going to be a rebuilding year for West Virginia. And you beat Pitt, so maybe you can be excited about that. But they'll be ready to. I think they'll be ready to cheer on the Mountaineers. Just a matter of whether or not TCU can get out of there without getting dirty. Because sometimes they go in there and they just poop the bed. I guess we can talk about that now.
They do, and I think it really has not been pretty. I mean, even in I think the last time they played in Morgantown was 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And that was obviously the national championship run. And for a little while there, it didn't look super pretty. And you thought, is West Virginia like going to pull this off? And then I think Duggan threw a pass to Quentin Johnston on 4th down or something to seal the game.
They did the same thing they did against Colorado a couple weeks ago where they did a touchdown on the last play of the game to cover the spread.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it was, hey, Sonny, and maybe we shouldn't be talking about gambling after today. I know we're sponsored by FanDuel, but if you're an athlete, don't listen to us. Or coach, don't listen to us.
Golly.
Anyways, yeah, I think the vibe around this would be even more high, I think, for TCU if they were playing at home. But it's just the fear of like going to a place where weird things have happened in the past, and you're playing a team that is so hungry for a win right now. They've been getting destroyed in Big 12 play. Like, some of that just kind of might throw you off a little bit and it might make you a little uneasy about this game. Where are you kind of with that?
Listen, it's not even just Morgantown with West Virginia. It's West Virginia. Since 2017, so TCU beat, or actually, no, let's take this back to 2016. So TCU from 2012 to 2015 had won the first 3 out of the 4 matchups between the two teams in the Big 12. Pretty good. And a lot of them were pretty close. They were in 2012, they won in double overtime by 1. In 2013, they lost by 3 in overtime. In 2014, that season where 2014, remember, they were not, I hesitate to say robbed of a college football playoff spot, but they felt like they should have gotten in the playoff that year and maybe could have won a championship. They went into Morgantown and had to get a walk-off field goal to beat that West Virginia team. That is arguably the greatest TCU team of all time, like roster-wise. And they had to have a walk-off field goal against West Virginia. Then they won 40-10 in 2015. But since then, 2016 on, LW, LLLLWL. Does not matter where it is. It has been bad.
I remember the 2023 game they lost. So they did lose in 21, right?
21, 29, 17. That was kind of, I think, the beginning of not the beginning of the end, but that was whenever we were all like, all right, it might be time for Gary to be done here.
I remember because I was there and, I stayed through the whole thing because there were like fireworks at the end of the game. And a lot of people left. Yeah, a lot of people left. I stuck through.
That was a tough one. I remember that game because they gave us a free Canes voucher, and so we left early to go redeem that.
Cash in on that.
And then we went to the Canes, and they said this is only valid. This was only valid until 9:30 p.m. And I was like, well, the game ended at 10, buddy. So I don't know what you wanted me to do.
What the heck? That's wow. They scammed y'all. You got finessed.
Literally, the Canes right off, like on University. I was like 3 feet away from the stadium, so I don't even.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this in the last episode of the Frogs kind of struggling with teams outside of their state. Really, you look at the way that they played against Kansas State and the way they've played there in years past, and then traveling to Morgantown to take on West Virginia has not been pretty either at home or away, as you just mentioned. There was, the loss to Arizona State in Tempe. So it's kind of bizarre how TCU has been unable to, obviously the North Carolina game was great and all, but UNC is really, really bad. This is an opportunity here to kind of right those wrongs a little bit and get a road win at the end of the day. Maybe not a big one because you're expected to win, but just a road win just to give yourself a little more confidence once you play away from Amon G. Carter.
Yeah, I mean, that's not being able to beat teams like West Virginia has like done in a lot of TCU seasons that could have been a lot more productive otherwise. Because we talked about it last week, right? They always seem to be able to beat Texas Tech, SMU, Baylor, heck, even Texas for a long time, right? Whenever they were in the Big 12. But you play Oklahoma State. Well, maybe not Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Iowa State. You'll lose. It's like, what in the world? Can't beat those guys, but I can beat the team in Austin that spends more money than I do, but I can't beat Iowa State. Seems a little backwards. But yeah, this is a good opportunity for that road win, because I have a question for you, Zion.
Mm-hmm.
Who's better, West Virginia or North Carolina?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean,
who would win on a neutral field between North Carolina and West Virginia?
North Carolina and West Virginia. I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't have a definitive answer either. That's the thing. I think they're very, with West Virginia like healthier at the quarterback position, I probably would take them. But with their injuries, it's tough. Like they're really beaten up right now.
They got, like we mentioned, they got 3 quarterbacks on the injury report right now. They've got a pair of running backs that are out, Ty Edwards and Jaheim White. Multiple wide receivers. Yeah, it's just, it's an extensive list. To answer your question, I really don't know, but it'd be an interesting game for sure.
The end all be all is that TCU is better than both, and they should beat West Virginia, maybe not as thoroughly as they beat North Carolina, but it should be like that.
Yeah. It'd be great to see someone, Kavorian Barnes kind of build off of last week and be able to just continue to hash out that running game. They will. Talking about TCU side of the injury report, Jeremy Payne is listed as doubtful, along with Ed Small and Cade Bennett. 3 players that I was kind of surprised with to see that they're all doubtful for this week.
Ed Small a little less surprising since he didn't play last week. Cade Bennett's a little surprising since he did get the start and seemed to play pretty well last week. But from all the reporting we've seen, it's kind of a situation where it might just be a precautionary sit-out situation with a bye week coming up was a little weird. But need Cade down the stretch. It's a tough Big 12. Last 4 games of the year are tough. Then with Jeremy Payne, I'm a little surprised by that, but also not that much because we just haven't seen him do all that much lately. It's been a lot of Barnes and Trent battle. So if they don't deviate from that plan, I think they're good. End all be all really is that it doesn't matter who TCU has injured. West Virginia is going to be playing a quarterback that is at best their 3rd string quarterback. they might be down to their 4th-string quarterback if Khalil Wilkins doesn't play. So it's like they got to go out there and perform.
Yeah, it's got to be a convincing win, and not playing with your food, not playing down to your competition. The Frogs are favored by 15.5 points, and it should be around that score, like that much of an advantage for TCU. With a win, they would secure bowl eligibility. Obviously, that's kind of the bare minimum. Considering you're 5-2, you would not want to lose your final 4 games of the season. But it is something worth noting that if TCU can hold on to a win here, that's where they would be at 6-2 and trying to move back up the Big 12 standings.
And if you want to have any silver lining, if they got to 6-2, it would be earlier than they got to 6 wins last year. Because I think they got to 6 wins in November last year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
Because I remember we went to the Baylor game and we were like, this is the game for who wins gets to go to a bowl. And that was in November.
Yeah.
So TCU, hey, you said it. Bowl win is a bare minimum. But our prediction of 9-3 is still on the table.
It is still very much on the table. Do you want to talk a little bit about what's kind of on the slate for Big 12?
Yeah, because no disrespect to the TCU West Virginia game, but man, we are really gonna look bad if TCU poops the bed this week.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, do you want me to go out here and tell you that West Virginia has a shot to win this game? Like, do you want me to come out here on this pod and with legitimate straight face and tell you that West Virginia down there, maybe their 4th-string quarterback has a chance to beat TCU? Do you want me to say that? Because I won't.
I know there was a TCU fan out there that said we may not win another game on this schedule, but guys, I mean, they're the 2nd worst team in the conference. At some point, you do just kind of have to say they should absolutely demolish the Mountaineers. Like you said, I'm not going to come out here and say, well, I don't know. I think the Mountaineers should win. They could definitely win this game.
This is a different Big 12 this year where, like, last year, if you told me, hey, TCU's going to go on the road to West Virginia, they might lose, I would have said, I believe you. Because I think last year's Big 12 was a lot more compacted than this year's. There are bad teams in the Big 12 this year. It is not a situation where everyone can beat everyone.
I mean, Oklahoma State and West Virginia fall under that category. The Cowboys are 1-6. West Virginia is 2-5. Again, we talked about UCF, who has been considered a bottom feeder. They just demolished West Virginia. So that's where we're at. But anyways, Big 12. What are you looking at this weekend?
Big game this week is BYU at Iowa State. Obviously, BYU looking to keep their undefeated run going. Iowa State's lost 2 in a row, hoping to get off the schneid. Interesting spread here. Iowa State -2.5.
Oh, wow.
So that one's a little intriguing for sure, but that's a big game for sure. See if the Cougars can listen. Last year, this was BYU 2025 BYU and 2024 BYU are the exact same entity. Like, they are undefeated. No one believes in them. They are underdogs, teams they probably should be favored against, and they go out there and they'll probably win on a field goal. So it's just how it goes. They'll probably lose in like week 13 to Kansas or something like that. I don't know who's on their schedule, but maybe to TCU. How about that on November 15th?
Yeah.
Other big game. It's actually a pretty important slate in the Big 12. Houston at Arizona State. Are the Cougars for real? Can they actually win a game against a opponent that's superior? They failed to do so against Texas Tech. They get an opportunity to play the team that just beat Texas Tech in Tempe. Any thoughts there? I don't think they can do it.
I don't think they can either. But hey, if you want to prove us wrong and prove any doubters, this is your opportunity to do it. And I hate to say it, but like, this is probably your chance, like your one and only chance, really. I mean, I don't. Houston's a team where they're 6-1, but they had to kick a walk-off field goal against Oregon State in overtime to win. They beat Arizona by 3. They had a
Walk-off field
convincing,
goal.
yeah. I mean, they've had convincing wins over Colorado and Oklahoma State, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think Colorado's fine, but again, they threw a third-string quarterback out for that game, so I don't know what was going on there. So Houston's had a look. They've taken care of their schedule so far, and a lot of credit goes there. But this is your opportunity to really show, like, okay, are you legit or not? And Arizona State's obviously feeling good after beating Tech, and Sam Levitt's back and playing good football, so we'll see. It's a really intriguing game, but I do like ASU in that one for sure.
Baylor at Cincinnati. Dave Aranda coaching for his job here kind of feels like. I've seen a lot of. I mean, we were watching Locked On Baylor the other day. They're mad. Alvin Cohen, excuse me, said on Believe in Baylor he's done with Dave Aranda.
Yeah. We've ruined Baylor. We've torn them apart.
But if they can go on the road and beat a ranked Cincinnati team, are they back on board with the Aranda train? Choo choo.
Well, it seems like they're on the James Franklin.
They really
train
want
right
James
now.
Franklin. I seen a lot of Baylor fans wanting James Franklin. You and everybody else, guys. You and everybody else.
I don't think there's a school that doesn't want James Franklin. So, join the line.
Join the line. Cincinnati, though, opportunity there to stay undefeated in conference play. Kansas State, while not having like big conference implications, is fun and interesting.
It's always fun when those two teams get together in any sport, really. I mean, it's a heated rivalry for sure. One that I don't think gets talked a lot. Is it a protected rivalry in the Big 12?
I believe so.
Yeah. I don't think it gets talked about a ton. I think it's more so on the basketball side.
Yeah, and lately, there was that one year. Was it 22 or 23 when K State went on that run of the Elite Eight?
Mm-hmm. It was with I can't remember anybody on that team right now, but I think it was 2023.
Yeah, short guy. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name either. We're not basketball yet. We're not in basketball season yet. We haven't got there, but
we will be soon, though.
We will be soon. We'll be
Yes.
soon. Just saw Nikki G put out his big preview.
Yes.
So go read that.
We will be. We'll have a men's and women's basketball season preview coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that.
But yeah, those games back then in that basketball season were really electric. So hoping the football game is as fun. It's on TNT, and I've loved TNT's presentation of the Big 12. Here is my take for the Big 12. I know this is probably not possible given their contracts with their media rights partners, but if TNT treats those games like a big event, like they have the sky cam, they have the cameras on the field, like following the players, like it's only Kansas State, or like UCF, Oklahoma State, or something like that. TNT's treating this like a big deal. Go to them. Like if they're going to treat you like a big deal, that's great. The more that you can be seen as a legitimate product. I mean, we just saw this with the NBC on NBA on NBC a couple nights ago, right? Like if it looks like it's a big deal, people will treat it as such. And I think that can be true about the Big 12 as well, because the TNT product for the Big 12 has been really, really awesome. And I hope that TCU gets a game there at some point this season.
Yeah, that would be sweet. It's very, you're totally right. The presentation of a game is super important, and how you present it to your audience, and it kind of, magnifies the scope of it, even if it is not a super intense game. Yeah, I watched a little bit of that Cincinnati Kansas game, and yeah, it was a pretty good broadcast. I enjoyed it. So hopefully the Frogs can find their way over to TNT. But yeah, this Kansas State game, I was going to mention this earlier. This is really interesting matchup because K-State they had a bye last week. Obviously the win over TCU, but they stayed close with Baylor. They defeated UCF. Like if K-State wins this game, things get a little more interesting. Obviously, they're not really in the Big 12, title picture yet, but then they have a matchup with Texas Tech, and I don't think that they can necessarily beat Tech, but that game gets a little more interesting if they can pull off a win over Kansas on the road as well.
Yeah, and for TCU's sake, I thought it might just be interesting to just kind of walk through who TCU needs to win and lose for them, because obviously they need help to get to the Big 12 title game. They need Kansas to beat Kansas State, because K-State owns the tiebreaker over the Frogs, and they're both 2-2 in conference. And should TCU beat West Virginia and K-State beat Kansas, both teams will be 3-2. TCU needs K-State to be bad. Then Houston, Arizona State. I think you want Houston to win that game.
To win.
Yeah. Because even though ASU would have the tiebreaker, you'd be right there with them. For fun purposes, Oklahoma State beat Texas Tech.
Have you seen
I'm looking at the line right now. 36.5.
Oh my God. And they're going to obliterate it probably.
Baron Morton is not playing. Will Hammond is playing again. I imagine that is completely precautionary. They do not need Baron Morton to beat Oklahoma State.
They will be A-okay. But yeah, very interesting Big 12 slate. There are as we get later and later in the season, the stakes get that much higher. So we'll be monitoring those games for sure, and hopefully not having to stress too much about this TCU West Virginia game. Seth, what do you want to do? A score prediction? Do you have one?
35-14 TCU. Give it to me, Zion. I know it's the same.
Mine is TCU 35, West Virginia. I'll give them 14.
Maybe a garbage time touchdown.
Yeah, I'll give them that. I don't see West Virginia getting any higher than that. I mean, given if you just look at results alone, their offense has been a struggle bus, to say the least. So the Frogs defense has been playing solid this year. I think you gotta stack that box and bring pressure and sell all out for the run, because
make them throw the ball.
Yeah.
Like
make
literally
them drop back like 30
put
times.
8 in the box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 8. Yeah. Leave 3. Engage 8. Madden.
Yeah.
Let's
put 11 guys in the box. They probably won't be able to throw.
Yeah. They won't have time. You just bring everybody.
They won't have time because, listen, here's who might be their quarterback. I just told you who was the quarterback for the UCF game, and I thought it was like a makeup player. Scotty Fox Jr.? It's not a real human.
Sure, he's a great guy.
Sure, he's a really great guy. Sure, he's a really great guy. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see about Scotty Fox Jr. Listen, if West Virginia has anything, is that they can just throw out quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, and TCU won't know what's coming. Now, are those quarterbacks any good? That's I don't know, but they might be able to confuse TCU that way. But I still think TCU rolls here. Fingers crossed.
They should, and hopefully we can talk about that in the recap and feel good about it, and not have to say anything.
And move on to bye week.
Yeah, and we got bye week. That's another thing. No look ahead. There's not like an opportunity to look ahead to certain. Nope, you have the bye week, and I think it'll come at a good time for TCU as they can get ready for their final 4 games of the season. But again, got to lock in for West Virginia. That game will kick off at 5 p.m. Central Time on ESPN Plus. We will be tuned in. Looking forward.
Trying to. If ESPN lets us, reminder what happened with the Baylor game. We were all blacked out from that. And I figured out that it was everybody. It was not just people here in Dallas.
Baylor fans?
No, some Baylor fans that don't live in Dallas that could not watch it either.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Because they were blacked out, and well, they were like, "That's fine. I don't want to watch the rest of this anyway." But
then they almost came back. Almost won the game.
Hopefully they let us.
Yeah, hopefully they will, but we'll see. We'll keep you updated if we're able to watch this game. I'm sure we will, but that'll wrap things up here for this episode of Believe in TCU. You can follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube page, or listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, all at Believe in TCU. So for Seth Dowdle, I'm Zion Trammell. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, go Frogs.